These are not the project. They're how I learned this machine. The real project happens later in the video. InfiMaker sent me this, a 5-axis CNC. This is not a review, this is a reveal. InfiMaker is paying me to make this video. Same design, 3 materials, 1 machine that never lets go of the part. No flipping, no reclamping, no second setup. Start to finish in one go. There's also a feature in the software that some of you are going to love, but I refuse to touch. We'll get there. A 5-axis CNC used to mean an industrial shop and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Things are changing pretty fast, and I've got one of the first available to consumers. The InfiMaker K1 is considered a desktop CNC. I get the irony here that mine is sitting on the floor. I don't have a permanent home for mine yet, so for right now, I'm just gonna park it in Kelly's garage and use it here for this demonstration. You may have seen me use a lot of CNCs in the past. This is unlike anything I have ever used before. It can cut wood, aluminum, brass, stainless steel, titanium, and a lot more. Plus, it's got a tool changer built into it, and it cuts on a 5th axis. So once you clamp your material into the vise, you never have to touch it again. It's pretty crazy and mind-blowing how it works. InfiMaker sent me a bunch of materials and test files to use, but that's not how I want to do it. I want to use my own materials, design my own files, and put it to the test right away. Let's start with something that I think would be pretty hard. And we're gonna make a hammerhead. And we're gonna start off easy so I can learn the machine. So I drew this up in Fusion 360, and the first one that I wanna cut is out of wood. And then we're gonna work our way up the hardness scale. And like I mentioned earlier, there's no reclamping, refixturing, and changing tools. You clamp your material down, you hit go, and the machine does the rest. It's pretty bonkers. Let me show you how the software works and put it to the test. This is Infi Studio, and it's pretty simple. And I mean simple in a good way, because a lot of CNC machines, the software that comes with them is overwhelming and complicated. The crazy thing about this is once you put your model in place, you hit process, and it creates all the tool paths for you. I have never experienced that. I've got lots of experience making tool paths in Fusion and VCarve, and each tool you need to set a different path and then you have to combine them. This does everything for you all at once. You don't have to worry about feeds or speeds. You put in the material and the software does the rest. Sometimes these companies, they get the tool right, but then the software feels like Windows 95 coded by a 4-year-old. This is not the case. If you're familiar with 3D printing and Bamboo Lab, it's kind of set up like that with the different tabs up top. This is the vise. It comes with a couple set of jaws. This set is for round materials, and then you can also put in rectangular materials. Let me show you the magazine drawer. I'm gonna open that up. Here you can place in 5 different bits. You got the probing tool, and then back here is the touch off so it knows the length of each tool. You can control everything from your computer, Mac or PC, or you can use the built-in screen here. And if I hit start, it's gonna do a pre-check. It's gonna grab the probe tool, and then it's gonna zero off on the touch plate so it knows its height. Touches off on the top, touches off on the left, on the right, the front, and the back. And now it knows the exact size of the material. So it's going to go put the probe back in its home, and it's gonna go grab the first bit. And then it takes that bit and touches off so it knows the length of the bit. It will do that every single time. Here we go. Now that it's completed its roughing pass, it's going to switch tools and it's gonna do some finishing passes. This is the part that takes the longest, but there's no sanding afterwards. It's butter smooth. All done 3 hours later, but look at that. It's crazy how it feels sanded. There's a little bit of material left in the hole, maybe where the bit couldn't reach, but that That is pretty good. I'll make a handle for this a little bit later and turn it into a mallet. That's crazy. I didn't realize this until after cutting this out, but in the software, after you generate your toolpath, you can analyze everything to see how well it's going to cut. And here I can clearly see that there was going to be a little bit of material left behind, which is not a big deal for this project. This came in really handy for the project that I'm going to show you after all of the hammers, where I had to go back and forth between my Fusion file and InfiMaker Studio to make sure everything was going to cut the way I wanted it to cut. Will this be a useful mallet? Probably not. I'm gonna make a handle for it anyway. I'm just getting used to the machine. What will be useful is one made out of solid brass, but solid brass rod this thick is insanely expensive. So I wanna practice on aluminum first. It's a little bit cheaper, and this is my first time cutting metal. So let's throw the aluminum in there and give that a go. Oh my goodness, that looks pretty freaking cool. For the most part, it's pretty well polished. Now, the part that I had in the clamp, that is very dull. I can polish that up pretty fast. I don't know if there is such a thing as an aluminum hammerhead, but it's giving me the confidence to move right on to brass. Just like the aluminum, the brass came out great. I will polish it up even more and add a handle to it, but right now we need to get to the feature event and cut this hammerhead out of stainless steel, which is a hard metal. I've never used a CNC that could cut hard metal, let alone on a 5th axis. Again, I'm using all my own materials as I would in the real world. This is the shortest rod of stainless steel I could get from McMaster Carr, so I had to cut it down, which definitely took a while. With each different material, you need to create a new path because the feeds and speeds that it generates is going to be different depending on the materials. The K1 does come with a set of tools for soft materials like wood, aluminum, brass, acrylic, as well as a set of tools for hard metals like stainless steel and titanium. So I had to swap out the set of tools, regenerate a new path, and here we go for a 4th time. It's mind-blowing that it is cutting stainless steel with ease like that. I've never had a tool that could do that. So that is pretty cool. It's looking really good for a roughing path. So it's halfway through the hole on the bottom side, and now it's doing the other side, and they're meeting in the middle. Have I mentioned that we're cutting stainless steel? That is a huge chunk of stainless steel. Still bonkers to me. We got the roughing pass done. It is now just switch bits, and it is gonna start doing the finishing passes. It's gonna go through this twice. It's gonna use the medium-sized finishing bit, and then after it goes over the whole thing, it's gonna use the smaller finishing bit. And this is the part that takes the longest, but it's well worth it. Like the brass hammerhead, it came out nearly perfect. I did do a little bit of final polishing to give it a mirror finish. Now, let's go make some wood handles. The hammers came out absolutely amazing. My favorite one by far is the brass one. I can't believe I designed and made that. It's so beefy and heavy and just looks freaking cool. Now I want to get a little bit more creative and make some art. Like I mentioned earlier, it can cut a wide variety of materials. So the main piece of this art is this huge chunk of acrylic. I did have a few learning mistakes, even though the software tells you which tool set to use for your material. I used the hard tool set to cut aluminum, assuming it was the correct one. I ended up breaking 2 bits. I broke another bit, not realizing chips would get compacted in the handle hole of the stainless steel hammer. It is a press a button and go process, but you gotta pay attention. Nothing proprietary as far as I can tell. It accepts standard 3D files, STEP, OBJ, STL, as well as standard bits. It works on North American 110 volt, which is surprising for how powerful this machine is. My machine is a prototype and not a production model, so it might be slightly different than what you see here. Only a 5-axis CNC could have made those hammerheads in one pass. Impossible with a standard 3-axis CNC. It's mind-blowing what we can do in our home workshops now. We can do small batch manufacturing and prototyping. Not even thinkable just a few years ago. I know it can be hard to trust somebody who's being paid to say nice things about a tool, and you should be skeptical of anybody getting paid to sell you a machine. I've been making YouTube videos full-time for over 12 years, and those who have been following me for a long time know I have a pretty damn good track record of being honest with my recommendations. This is a pretty impressive machine. I can now do things in my garage that I never thought possible. I've got well over 30 hours of working time on a K1, so I can say with confidence it's pretty well thought out, and this prototype is very well built. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on a production model with the finished software. The beta software is already extremely impressive. I'm not going to get into all the specs. You can look them up yourself, but I think the one that matters to most of you is volume. It's not straightforward, but at a minimum, it is 120 by 120 by 120 millimeters. You can go bigger if you don't use the full 5-axis. Axis is so hard for me to say, and my wife is a speech therapist, so I don't need your feedback, but thank you. Of course, I wish the cutting area was bigger, and of course, I wish it could accept bigger bits. I think they're actually called tools and end mills. I'm just kind of stuck in my old ways. Still, you're getting a desktop machine that has never been available until recently. I saw an interview with the CEO where he said the size and weight of the machine is as small as they could get it while keeping the precision that it has. So besides the size and weight, every con and complaint I have is in the software, which is still in beta, and it can all be added or is currently being added. I've let them know all the things I wish were available. They probably already knew, but as someone that is new to this type of technology, I just wanted to make sure that they were aware. For example, I wish I could choose how rough or smooth I want the final piece, just like 3D printing. I also wish I could break up long runs into smaller segments so I can say, hey, do segment 1, stop so I can go run some errands, come back, and then finish up the part. So far, nothing has limited my capabilities. It's just all little incremental improvements, especially since you can design your files in whatever software you like. Speaking of design, there is a feature in here that has AI built in, where you can give it a prompt and it will create the file for you. There's plenty of examples of them doing this in live demonstrations on their social media accounts and website. I take a lot of pride in understanding and knowing how to make my own files, so it's a feature I'm not going to use. The Kickstarter launches today. There's a link down below in the description to get early discounted pricing. You're going to see me use this more in some non-paid upcoming videos. As always, be safe, have fun, stay passionate, and make something.